Hello students, as we have completed the chapter 5, that is classification of elements. Now we will begin with this chapter, that is chapter 7, control and coordination, which is very important, which I think which carries 5 marks. So from this chapter you may expect questions of 5 marks. So this is very short chapter and very important and very easy to understand how our body works and how our body controls and coordinates to perform various functions. So it is very easy chapter and it's a short chapter. So we will start here. So that is chapter name is control and coordination. So from the term we can get some idea that what is the meaning of control. Control means to control over something, and coordination means to two or more things in coordination doing something. So to perform, here we will see, to perform various activities, an organism's various body parts must coordinate with each other. So that is very important. To perform various activities, we are doing various activities in our life. So to perform those activities, an organism's various body parts must coordinate with each other. Without the coordination of different parts, different body parts, the activities cannot be performed. So for instance, if we take the example here, so in this picture, if we see this boy is going to catch the ball. So this boy is going to catch the ball. So how will he catch the ball? So for this one, his eye and his hands and his legs are working together. So they are coordinating with one another. So his eyes are telling to go up to this much to catch the ball, and his eyes are instructing his hands to lift his hands to catch the ball. So all the parts are coordinating with one another to accomplish this function or to accomplish this activity. To accomplish any activity, our body parts must coordinate with each other. Without such coordination, we cannot accomplish any activity. So in this chapter we will be discussing how our body means coordinate with one another part, another part, and how our body responds to different types of external influences. So for control and coordination, specialized cells are there which regulate and integrate all the activities of the body. So for control and coordination, here we see in this picture we have seen that the boy is running towards the ball and lifting his hands to catch the ball. So for this control and coordination, specialized cells are there in our body. So some specialized cells are there which regulate and integrate all the activities of the body. This system is called neural or nervous system. So that system which is constituted which is composed of these specialized cells are known as neural or nervous system. So that system which can regulate, controls and coordinate to perform various activities are known as neural or nervous system. So animal nervous system. The specialized cells which form the nervous system are called nerve cells or neurons. From class 8, I think you are getting something about neurons. Neuron is very important. So the specialized cells which form the nervous system are called nerve cells or neurons. So nervous system is composed of neurons, means neurons constitute the nervous system. So the structural and functional unit of the nervous system is nothing but neuron. So the structural and functional unit of the nervous system is neuron. You remember this one because neuron is forming or constituting the nervous system and performing the functions of nervous system. The nervous system of humans consists of more than 10 billion neurons. In our body we have more than 10 billion neurons, and all these 10 billion neurons are working or coordinating with one another to perform various activities. The nervous system can be divided into the following parts. The nervous system that we have in our body can be divided into mainly two parts. We have another part that one will not discuss here, that is in class 11 you will get. So in this class 10 we will only discuss about these two parts, that is central nervous system and peripheral nervous system. So one part is central nervous system and another part is peripheral nervous system. So CNS, that is central nervous system, comprises of brain and spinal cord. So we have a brain and have a spinal cord which is running along our back. So this brain and spinal cord together we can say or we can call as central nervous system. And what is peripheral nervous system? So peripheral nervous system comprises of nerves coming out of brain and nerves coming out of the spinal cord. So on this brain and spinal cord together we will say central nervous system, and the nerves that are coming out of the brain and the nerves that are coming out of our spinal cord together we will say that is peripheral nervous system. So only the nerves coming out of brain and nerves coming out of spinal cord, so only these two types of nerves together will say as peripheral nervous system, and the main part main organ, that is brain and spinal cord, together we will say as central nervous system. So our body have these two types of nervous systems. So that is picture of neuron. I guess you all are familiar with this picture. This is a picture of neuron. If you see the picture here, so in this picture some hair like or some branch, small branch like structure is there, and that is known as dendrite. And we have a free space here, full body, so that is known as soma or cell body. So that free space is known as soma or cell body, and in the center we have a nucleus. As it is a cell, so in the cell we know that nucleus is there, and we have a long tube like structure, and that is known as axon. So behind these structures one long tube is there that is going up to this much, so that tube is known as axon, and this axon is covered with a box like things, and that structure is known as myelin sheath, or it is known as myelin covering. So that myelin covering is just covering this axon, and in the end we have some axon terminal button, that is we also call this as nerve ending. So nerve is getting ended here, so this is known as nerve ending. So this is the structure of neuron. So now we will discuss the structure and function of neuron. So the primary components of the neuron are the soma or cell body, the axon, that is a long slender projection that conducts electrical impulses here from the cell body, and dendrites, which are tree-like structures that receive messages from the other neurons. So three main components are there, that is soma or cell body is one component, and another one is axon, which is a long slender projection, and the main function of this axon is to conduct electrical impulse from the cell body, and dendrite, which is a tree-like, which is branch, or we can say it's a hair-like structure. So what is the function of this dendrite? It receives the messages from other neurons. So we will see in the function. So in the function, if you discuss, when stimulus is received by the receptors, if anyone or any stimulus means anything from outside the influence, if you prick with a pin, or if you touch the fire of your, if you touch one, so that is spine or anything, if you touch anything, so that one will pierce in your skin. Or if you see one bright light, so that light will touch your eye, so that is also, that light is acting like a stimulus. So that light is stimulus, that piercing of with this needle, so that piercing is also a stimulus. So anything from outside that is that you are getting, so that is known as stimulus. So when stimulus is received by the receptors, we know that we have 5 sensory organs, that is eye, nose, ear, skin and tongue. So 5 sensory organs we have, and in these 5 sensory organs we have receptors. So these receptors receive the stimulus. When a stimulus is received, whenever you eat something, so the taste is stimulus. The taste is accepted by the receptors. So in our tongue we have receptors, that receptors are accepting the stimulus of taste. So in our skin, so below the under the skin we have receptors. So these receptors are accepting the stimulus of pain, or stimulus of heat, or stimulus of coldness. So these things are received by the receptors. So the stimulus, when the stimulus is received by the receptors, the stimulus is converted into electrical impulse or electrical signal. So that is important. So when a stimulus is received by the receptor, the stimulus will not be sent. So that stimulus will be converted into an electrical impulse or electrical signal. So that stimulus cannot be transported. So that that stimulus will be converted into one kind of electrical impulse or electrical signal, and that electrical signal is sent to the dendritic tip of the neuron. So that electrical signal will be from the receptor. If you consider, if receptors are here, they will convert this one and they will send the electrical impulse to the dendritic tip of the dendrite, and from where it is passed to the cell body, and from the dendritic tip the electrical impulse will be sent to the cell body or soma, and from cell body the electrical impulse reaches to the nerve ending through the long tubular axon. So from the cell body the electrical impulse reaches to the nerve ending through this long tubular axon. So when the electrical impulse reaches to this nerve ending, so when electrical impulse reaches to the nerve ending, it releases some chemicals at synapse. So what is synapse? Synapse means gap between two neurons. So all the neurons are connected with one another. So another neuron will be there. So there will be some gap between two neurons. So another neuron will be started from here. So it will be started from here, and some gap will be there in between two neurons, and that gap is known as synapse. You remember this term, it is very important. In the exam, this question is asked many times that the gap between two neurons is called dash, means it is synapse. So synapse is the gap between two neurons. So in the synapse, what happens? Once the electrical impulse reaches to the nerve ending, it releases some chemicals at synapse. So at synapse, the chemicals generate or produce similar kind of electrical impulse which is accepted by the dendritic tip of the next neuron. So when the electrical impulse or when the chemicals is released at the synapse, what happens? The synapse, the chemicals at the synapse generate or produce similar kind of electrical impulse which was passing through this neuron. That similar kind of electrical impulse will be generated, and that electrical impulse will be accepted by the dendritic tip. So if another neuron is here, so means dendrite is also there. So that electrical impulse will be accepted by the dendritic tip of the next neuron. So from the dendritic tip it will go to the cell body. From cell body it will pass through the axon to the nerve ending. Similarly, it will release some chemicals. Like this it will travel in our body. So like this the electrical impulses or the information or the message travels through a neuron. So this is the function of neuron. In our class 8 and class 9 we have seen that neuron just transmits or transfers or carries information or message from one part of the body to another part. But here we have seen how it's transferring or carrying or conducting the information or the signals from one part to another part to the through this neuron. So first the stimulus is accepted by the receptors, and that stimulus is converted into electrical impulse which is accepted by the dendritic tip, and from the dendrite it reaches to the cell body, and from cell body it reaches to the nerve ending along the axon, which is a long tubular structure, and at the nerve ending that at the synapse that electrical impulse is converted into releases some chemicals at the synapse, and that synapse produce or generate similar kind of electrical impulse which is accepted by the dendritic tip of the next neuron. And like this the information or message or electrical impulses travels through a neuron. So up to this much I have just given a short introduction of this chapter, and if you have any confusion, any doubt, you can ask me, and in the comment section also you can ask me, or in the WhatsApp also you can ask me. I have seen that you are not asking your confusions and doubt, so it's open. You can ask me anything, any doubt, any confusion, you just ask me. I will try to clarify your doubts in the next videos. No problem, you just ask me. If you have any confusion, any doubt, you can ask me. And thank you for watching the video with so much of patience.